Tools for thought. Today, I want to be talking about a field of research called tools for thought. And in the context of ALP, it's all about remembering everything you consume on the go. And wouldn't that be great? It would be amazing if you could just remember all that content that you consume while you're on the go. You know, the podcast, the articles you read, audiobooks you listen to, all of those things. And so, augmenting memory and learning and thought has actually been a technological goal since the 60s. The idea was far reaching. It was being able to remember everything you learn and consume and linking those different pieces of data and information so that you could actually enhance the way you form new thoughts and increase productivity and creativity. But in the 80s and 90s, this field of research kind of went into a slump for all kinds of different reasons. I'll put a link in the video notes about great articles that you can read that kind of cover that much more in depth. But the problem today, and actually this field of research has seen a big uptick over the past few years, especially when it comes to PC. There are all of these new companies and apps that you can download, like Rome Research and Notion and Monday.com, all kinds of productivity tools. There's some cool ones for the iPad as well. But the problem still exists for when you're on the go. And I want you to imagine the problem like this. It's a nice sunny day, not like the gray one that I'm outside now. You're walking your dog, you're listening to this podcast, and all of a sudden, aha, there's this great moment of insight that pops to you. And the problem goes like this. One, how long did it take you to generate that insight? Two, what do you do with that thought when it pops into your mind? Where do you store it? Do you write it down in a note? Do you write it down in a voice memo? Three, how do you remember to go back and review that note or voice memo? How does it come into your workflow? And then four, how do you use that to build and enhance your creative process? So all of those are part of the problem for tools for thought, and especially when it's on the go. Because when you're on the go, you don't have your PC, your laptop, you don't have the tools that you're used to using for this kind of workflow. You're in the middle of doing other things. And so, I mean, at ALP, clearly this is something that we think about a lot because ALP is learning on the go, and we want the thoughts and insights and learning that you generate to not only be in that moment, but to stick with you through over time. And so we've kind of coalesced our thinking around this around six key elements on the go tools for thought need. And the first one, at the most basic level, is really creating learning moments. And what that means is you need real meaning and learning and aha moments that are built into what you're consuming on the go. So if you think about a podcast, well, you might listen to a 50-minute podcast, and out of those 50 minutes, only one aha moment, which is a very low insights per minute metric, right? So you have to listen to 50 minutes just to generate one key learning. And so that's the first level. You have to create learning moments. Number two is capturing those aha moments, those learning moments in the wild. How do you store that snippet of information? Where do you keep it? Is it in written text? Is it in audio text? Which takes you to number three. Is it in its raw format, or do you curate somehow? Because you have to curate that stored material once you've captured it so that you can find it later. Item number four is reviewing what you've learned and captured. And this is really, really important because even after you've had an aha moment, you've curated, you've stored it, most of us just forget that it's there and we never come back to it. Think about all of your voice memos, your notes on your phone, your Notion templates, everything you've stored, you probably never come back to it. And so there needs to be this built-in workflow that makes you come back to what you've already decided is important. So that's number four. Number five, taking notes. It's simple, it's easy, but you've got to do it right. And there are lots of different apps for that, but that has to be integrated into this on-the-go tools for thought experience. Last but not least, exporting. Exporting your notes that you've consumed and curated on the go into a tool that you use for creative thinking, for productivity, for the heavy lifting that you do for deep thinking and deep work is critical. Most of us don't do our deep work on our phones, and so you really need that quality exporting tool. And those are the six aspects, the six elements that a tools for thought on the go solution needs. That's the way we think about it at ALP. And naturally, that's what you'll be seeing in ALP. See you next time.